Here we go then, game number 2 in the last 16 here. On stage 2, Adam Gawlas, one of the surprise entries into the last 16, it has to be said. Speaking with a lot of the darts experts over the last 24 hours, this is a bit of a story for the country of Czechia, having Adam at this stage, but he has got someone who is playing very well in this tournament in his way. Someone who obviously loves the UK Open because Willie was in the semis last year. He'd love to be part of the Sunday once again, but now he's got to take on the man who looks like he's got backgammon on his shirt. I just wonder if he's got a game that could possibly take out the Magpie. He's gotten rid of Kevin Dutz, Mario van der Bajara, and Luke Littler in this tournament. His highest average, 97.65, which is not as good, Dan McCarthy, as the stuff we've seen from Willie.
No, I mean, Willie O'Connor has quietly been one of the best performing players in this tournament so far. He kicked off his campaign averaging 99.97 in beating Devon Peterson. He then thrashed Jermaine Watamina 10-1. And up against another Dutchman, last year's winner, Danny Noppert, a different kind of game, but he managed to withstand the freeze, win at the last leg shootout, and come away with a 100 average. Because of that, O'Connor does come into this game as the favourite, but Adam Gawlas has taken some scalps. I don't think it can be underestimated how impressive that win against Luke Littler is. Forget the fact that Littler is 16, and there's a lot of fanfare around him. Gawlas threw an average of 97 over 18 legs. In any book, that's impressive. I think O'Connor will be too strong for Gawlas. But again, like every fixture we see in the UK Open, I wouldn't be shocked if Gawlas won.
96.
The country of Czechia really has been making waves over the last couple of seasons. You've seen Karel Sedlacek have a really good season last year without a tour card, and Adam's achievements in having a tour card have really been overshadowed by that of his World Cup teammate. But now he takes centre stage. Let's see what he can do with a bit of pressure on him. Okay, let's get cracking then. Back-to-back maxes, but Gawlas is the one on the finish. O'Connor will have to just wait and see. We're talking about a player that hasn't really been playing that long.
58.
He made the World Youth Final about 2 years into taking up the game. Ridiculous.
Yeah, unfortunately that night, he ran into Luke Humphreys, who
95.
was an established Pro Tour player by that point, and he lost to nil, but it was a really good learning experience on the big stage at Minehead. And this will be a good experience, winning the first leg. And he duly converts. And Adam Gawlas, he's not scared. The one thing you will say about Gawlas, he was only in his teens when he reached that final against Humphreys.
74.
He has shot up since then. He's much taller, much bigger, much broader. And he's another one of those young players in the sport that could have a really bright future.
He's not a shrinking violet either. When he was playing on home territory, or even in Germany in the European Tour over the last couple of seasons, he makes his presence felt.
140.
We were having a conversation actually earlier this weekend, weren't we, about where potentially the European Tour could go. We do have a date in Prague in May 12th, for the Czech Darts Open for the 3rd time in its history. Looking forward to that immensely. But I think you and I are in agreement that the next logical step for the European Tour would be to take an event to Ireland.
I think especially since Ireland lost the Grand Prix, now no tournaments are held there. And you've got to understand that the Irish lads have to travel, they have to go to airports, they have to, it might not be a long flight, but they've still got to go through all that rigmarole. So I think it'd be a nice reward almost if O'Connor was maybe to be one of the host nation players in terms of the rankings.
Absolutely. Thoroughly on board with it.
55.
Now, Gawlas in this tournament has a 170. Can he get another one? There's been 4 in this tournament. Gawlas beaten Dobie, Cullen. Adam's not going to get a second dip.
98. William, you require 52. $44.
Opportunity open for Gawlas.
72.
He won't believe he's been given this shot. These are the ones you've got to steal. Steal he does.
Second leg, Adam Gawlas.
Man nicknamed Flawless with a
Third leg,
flawless
Adam
finish.
to throw first.
No mucking around on 72.
Game on.
You know, we don't call him Flawless. Because of the way his surname is pronounced, we call him Flavlas. Sounds like a remarkably Geordie statement, doesn't it? Flavlas.
99.
Listen to that in Studio 36.
58.
Completely silent. It's a bit like it was at the start of the afternoon session, but by the end of it, it was a bit more boisterous.
Yeah, I think the people in there are getting warmed up right now.
It is very cold outside here on the Somerset
140.
coast. Best place to be, inside watching the darts. Get yourself a libation, sit down, enjoy, and wherever you're tuning in from around the world,
60.
this is a good place to be. You might even be looking forward to the next match with Johnny Clayton. I know I am.
And I know for a fact that the crowd will not be this quiet when Johnny Clayton is playing.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
162.
what a set of darts that was. 162 to leave the ton. Adam Gawlas has started this match very quickly.
I've got a theory.
57. Adam,
This
you
looks like a
require
new
100.
set of darts for Gawlas, and sometimes that can make a huge difference. They may be the same construct as he's had before, but a fresh grip, a fresh outlook can go a long way. And it's given him a 3-0 lead. He was so confident with that third dart, he was on the walk for it, knowing that it was already in.
Game on.
And I don't know if Willie liked that. The way that he just gave a bit of a stare before addressing the hockey.
I just don't think he likes being 3-0 down.
100.
As we mentioned earlier, because Willie O'Connor was on this board, playing against the defending champion Danny Nopper. He was a carpenter, still is in a sort of way. But he needs to chip away at Gawlas now. But we are seeing a level from Gawlas that maybe we haven't seen on a big stage before.
190.
Keep it going, guys.
Yeah, we'd like another one,
Entertaining
Adam.
us.
Come on, another one. Okay, put the hex on that one. Commentator's curse, classic.
Well, before this visit, Adam Gawlas, well, he's
24.
not going to be anymore. He was averaging 117.
That'll go a fair way to giving you a 3-0 lead. But that kind of talent,
91.
it didn't really shine in the long term for Gerwin Price against Jeffrey Desvaughn. Somebody's getting a bit more boisterous in the audience.
We talked
William
a few
Muir
legs ago
130.
as O'Connor goes for 130. Well, he went for the switch.
80.
Didn't need to go for the bull or double 5 shot. You mentioned about World Cup teams. I look at this Czech team going into the World Cup and I think the word dangerous. Because other players will not like playing a lot with Gawlas. because of his pace. And Sedlacek has done a lot of good work on the Euro Tour and at World Championships.
William, you require 50.
Gawlas does have a reputation as being slightly slower. He's not trying to put anybody off. He's playing his own game. First notch on the belt there for O'Connor. Needed that sooner rather than later. And if you look in the background here on this shot, just look at O'Connor. He has got to be patient in this game. He cannot afford to be impatient. If he is, he will lose. He's got to burn time at the back of the stage with constructive thought.
91.
Because if he's impatient, he'll throw his darts quicker than he normally would. His rhythm will be out of sync. And logically, he won't be hitting his targets.
He should be well prepared for this game. Playing Danny Noppert is not exactly like playing Michael Smith.
Second meeting this between Willie O'Connor and Adam Gawlas. The only previous one came in a Players' Championship back in 2021. O'Connor won 6 legs to 4, averaging 98.8, so a similar level to what he's had this weekend. This one you sense might have to be a little bit more on the attritional side. You might have to sacrifice 8 or 9 points on the average if he is to get the win.
There are probably going to be 3 or 4 out of the 8 games a bit like the attritional nature, because we're talking about playing 2 best of 19 matches in a day. You might not think that that's too much, but add to that the preparation, the time spent thinking about what you're about to do. Willie O'Connor was here early today. He will have been in this venue at around 10 a.m. It's already 8:15 local time. He spent the best part of 10 hours today either preparing or playing darts. And he's not even at the halfway point of this second match.
94.
Adam Gawlas' tournament has been even longer, with Van der Behade, Littler and Kevin Duke's dispatched.
124.
He's only playing in his 3rd UK Open. Lost on debut to Gino Voss in 2021. Only his 2nd UK Open at Minehead, of course.
44. William, you require 114.
Lost to Jamie Hughes last year. Doesn't want to lose to O'Connor. But what a great first start that is. As Willie goes for tops. This is for a break of throw.
74. Adam, you require 80.
Well, it's been a frustrating opening stanza to this game for O'Connor. Yep, shakes his head. Resignation almost, but Gawlas needs to hit this.
Okay, showing a 5th leg, and
That
Gawlas,
was
William to
as
throw
close as it's possible to get to busting.
You naughty little sausage. Getting that right in the bottom corner. If you're going to make Willie O'Connor feel really bad about himself, take 80 out with your last dart with it right in the corner.
It's the equivalent of goal line technology where the ball is a couple of millimeters over the line.
It's like hauling a putt to win a hole in match play
30.
from about 3 feet after a 360 around the hole. Like a net cord in tennis. It really hits it hard and just trickles over the net.
Like a snooker pot rattles the jaw about 8 times before dropping in.
Somebody told me the other day, actually, in snooker, that Cliff Thorburns 147 back in the 80s started with a fluked red.
91.
I didn't know that until that point. We don't get flukes in darts, by the way, because we just get brilliance.
59.
And maybe we get good assists from other darts. But there's no such thing as a fluke. Not in my book, anyway. I think the closest thing I've ever seen to a fluke involved Johnny Clayton last year, when when he got a treble 18, which was one of the most wicked
64.
deflections I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was against Martin Lukeman, wasn't it? And it was just, all you can do is laugh. Really.
Even he did.
Yeah.
100.
Johnny Clayton will play a Martin tonight. After this, Schindler against Clayton will follow this one. Don't ask me how he got that in.
68.
That was sheer force. Is Willie O'Connor picking up the pace here? It's his turn to hit the corner. But now he needs to turn the corner.
Adam to throw first.
That 180 from Gawlas, you could have dropped it on a pinhead, but O'Connor didn't care. He wasn't fussed. But he's got to do some chasing now, Willie O'Connor.
96.
Interesting game on the main stage between two old-timers of the sport. Have a look at this scoreline. Peter Wright 2, Richie Burnett 3.
28 years removed from playing at the Lakeside on Peter Wright's debut on a year where Richie Burnett became world champion. So much narrative attached to that fixture.
58.
Back when Richie was one of the very best in the world.
I would tip my hat and say the best in 1995. He was better than Taylor, he was better than Beaton, he was better than anybody. He won a lot of massive tournaments that year. The Welsh Open, the Dutch Open, the World Masters, the World Championship, all in 12 months.
100.
O'Connor will start on the 19th, sensibly so. Not someone you'd expect to see mathematical errors from.
95.
And I think I made the point to you earlier. O'Connor's throw is one of my favourite to watch because it's like a robotic arm at a factory. It moves one way and nothing else moves.
Right now, it looks like Gawlas is the immovable object. Every time O'Connor starts to make inroads, Gawlas just says, I'm having none of it. I'll just re-establish this three-leg cushion. We'll revisit what you just said about the action of O'Connor in a second. Let's give Adam the chance to go 5-2 up. He's leaving that arm out there until he actually retrieves the darts. Oh, this could be a game changer. I think he did the right thing going for that treble 20 again. It just didn't pay off.
16.
Yeah, it's almost like Gawlas has been watching Daryl Gurney.
Or Darius Labanauskas. Take your time, Adam. I don't think Willie O'Connor wants to wait much longer. Double 4. And he finds it. He knows how big that is because he's guaranteed to be at least drawing at the break. He will do things at his own pace, and in direct contrast to most people his age,
60.
he does it in a more deliberate fashion. Keane Barry, Josh Rock, Luke Littler, these young players, they all seem to play quickly, but not this guy.
And you almost have to admire that a little bit more, the fact that most of his peers do like to throw
70.
quickly. If Gawlas started throwing quickly, how many points would he drop off his average? He's got to play in a manner that he feels comfortable in.
96.
I don't think he is trying to put off his opponent. It's just the way he throws.
Correct. When he made his European Tour debut, none of us had heard much about him. We had to dig seriously deep to find some information. We immediately thought, he's got talent, this boy.
140.
But his action and his pace then to now is exactly the same. You're talking about that
60.
action of O'Connor, and I wanted to come back to it. There was a famous moment at the Phoenix Open Golf a few years ago where a robotic golf swing actually had a hole-in-one. If you were to create a robot to throw a dart, I think it should be modelled on
60.
Willie O'Connor, because look at the arm and look at the body. The arm moves, the body does not. This is about as good a throw as you could find. Thanks for proving my point, Willie.
I can assure you, Willie doesn't have an earpiece in listening to this commentary right now.
If he did, he'd tell me to shut up. In a manner of speaking.
81. William Uruguay 105.
We've had 7 180s in this game already. Still plenty of time for more. I do beg your pardon, we've had 8.
57. Adam Uruguay 150.
Now, this could be a game changer. Gawlas already has a bit of a cushion. Another one there. For double 18. O'Connor can't believe it. I almost can't believe it. That was stupendous.
I don't know what's more entertaining, the 150 out or the expression of William O'Connor.
All I can read from O'Connor's face then was, no, not tonight, please.
And it would sound even funnier in his accent, because anything sounds funnier coming from Willie O'Connor. When he's trying to tell a joke, he's as dry as Death Valley. But trust me, he's not laughing right now. The best he can hope for is 6-4 at the break.
121.
Let's face it, I'm sure there are some punters out there in our viewership watching from around the world. And who of you fancied Adam Gawlas to make the quarterfinals? I wasn't one of them.
Adam Gawlas, it's like the equivalent of picking Iran in the Office World Cup sweepstake.
Well, he's got to dig deep now, because if he doesn't, he will go home before Sunday, and he doesn't want that. Maybe Adam Gawlas is going to have a 1996 type campaign where the likes of Pavel Nedved and Karel Poborski had a whale of a time in England. Ultimately losing to Germany in the final, of course, but definitely put the Czech Republic on the map.
That always happened.
150.
Well, O'Connor has stuck with Gawlas in this 9th leg. 18. He can't do it again. You mentioned in the previous match, Gildingham. Get one on O'Connor.
Get one on tops. Oh, that's massive. That is proof. That's how he feels about it. And he's willing to go toe-to-toe now. We might just have a game on our hands. This is getting feisty.
Game on.
I think we've had a bit of cayenne pepper sprinkled on this game.
A little bit of extra cabbage in the Colcannon. I think the only spice that they use in Ireland is pepper. But in Czechia, there's a whole host of spices in their cuisine.
Paprika heavy.
A lot of paprika.
93.
And trust me when I say this, because I've used a lot of that in my cooking. When you get a nice hot paprika, it's pretty spicy.
140.
Well, we were basically living on chips last week in Kiel, and they sprinkle paprika on those. You may have to try the same thing.
No way are you bringing paprika salt into commentary. I tip my hat to you.
93.
The Euro Tour does funny things to a man.
One of us, one of us, one of us.
100.
Look at the darts, Dan. This is what it's like. It gets you around the neck. And it'll never let you go.
Well, the difference between 6-4 and 7-3 at the break is extraordinary. And O'Connor's doing a good job to try and make sure he's not behind by a bigger margin. What a visit that was from O'Connor.
This has gone from a game that was all right to being quite spectacular in about 4 legs.
130, William O'Connor 16.
Has to move right. Violent bounce out.
No score.
That could be really costly.
45.
That first start, which blocked the double A, may be massive. Look at Willie O'Connor in the background. He is crestfallen at the fact that he might be 7-3 down.
And Adam Gawlas keeps rolling on. He has had a phenomenal tournament so far, and he's 3 legs away from the quarter-final. Willie O'Connor has got to try and regroup somehow, but Adam Gawlas, particularly with that brutal 150 checkout, is 7-3 up on the Irishman. This promises to be a fascinating end to this contest. Join us in a couple of minutes for its conclusion.
Welcome back to stage 2 here at Minehead for the UK Open in 2023. Adam Gawlas is doing a very good job, isn't he? The intensity level has risen over the last few legs. Not just because we've had 10 maximums in this game, it's become a sneaky classic. But that classic for Willie O'Connor must turn in his favour fast, because if it doesn't, Flawless might just have the most flawless day he's ever had in his darting career, which is very young, averaging 97.5 to Willie's 98.8. This is a good game, and you get the feeling that if it gets close again, Dan, the intensity might find a new level.
Well, particularly given that both players started roaring a bit when they were landing big checkouts. And Gawlas, straight from the break, lands the biggest score of them all. We mentioned in previous games, some people could find the break advantageous, some don't like it. Gawlas is playing like there hasn't been one.
What he is showing is that the country of Czechia now has
49.
more than one superstar. Karel Sedlacek has been carrying the weight of Czech darts on his shoulders for years. Now, you have got more than one. In fact, there are plenty. Thomas Hudek's coming through the system. Watch out for him the next few years. Roman Benecki. There are stacks of them coming through.
105.
So Philip Shabesta put on an improved performance in the Euro Tour last week.
You'll see more of him on the Euro Tour this year. He is really good.
80. Adam, you require 167.
Well, this would probably be the biggest surprise of the lot, but it's not going to go. O'Connor's still shaking his head. A real psychodrama going on now.
Yeah, it's just one of, will you please stop hitting those trebles? He's had O'Connor under pressure since minute 1.
36.
Double 18 has been good to Gawlas already. It continues to be good.
He's a character, is Gawlas. If you've seen some European Tour action with him in the past, you'll know that. But this is a scoreline that I did not expect.
57.
I'm not sure anybody did.
Well, this game is between the player in O'Connor, ranked 92nd in the average list for the Pro Tour so far. Gawlas, 102nd. He's averaged 88.5 for the season. He's only won a couple of games on the Pro Tour in the 4 tournaments we've had so far. 3 first-round exits and a run to the last 32 of Players' Championship 3. So this run, is safe to say, has come from nowhere.
Yes, it has. And when you consider he's the 3rd lowest ranked player left in the tournament, that's a bit of a surprise because Richie Burnett is still in the tournament and Jeffrey Desvaughn, who's only just come through Q School to start his career again. We have to now think about Gawlas trying to save his tour privileges by the end of the year, and this run is doing him one heck of a lot of good.
Well, you've got to say that at the end of 2022, Gawlas did show some real stones because he qualified for the Grand Slam through the 8 tour card holder qualifier and for the World Championships. He managed to get in there.
I've never seen him hit this many maximums in a game like this. I've got to be honest. This is a very unexpected scoring performance for me.
Adam, you require 87.
Willie O'Connor is averaging just shy of 97, kind of where he's been for the whole tournament. And he's being battered. Gawlas doesn't need to go for the bull. O'Connor still shakes the head, scratches the head.
55.
It's like Willie O'Connor is in a maze and every single turn he makes is a dead end. There it is again. That's happened a couple of times in this contest, and that happens more when you're in this sort of position.
20.
That was a brave dart as well.
He was a brave man to go for that because the second dart looked like it was about to drop out. Gawlas was one leg away from victory.
This really is starting to turn into the tournament of his life and arguably the performance of his career to date. I know he beat Luke Littler with a slightly higher average than he's got right now, but this is in front of a lot more people and the pressure is higher. It's for a lot more money.
83.
Are we starting to see a promising young player blossoming into a prospect that we thought was possible? Last year we saw that from Keane Barry making the semi-finals. But we're seeing a very mature performance here from Adam.
A coming-of-age style performance. 101 in the average game.
I know one person who's going to be loving this. My good pal from Czechia, Pavel Korda, who is Mr. Darts in Czechia. He'll be feeling pretty nervous right now, but I don't think you've got anything to worry about, Pavel, because he's only got one more leg to get.
Just imagine Adam Gawlas against Richie Burnett in the quarterfinals of the UK Open. Burnett's 7-3 up on Peter Wright. The description I'd use on your face just then as I told you that,
59.
astonishment.
If Richie Burnett's in the quarterfinals of the UK Open, I'll feel like I'm in a time machine. He hasn't been in the last 16 of a ranked major title race in 9 years. 9 years. We talk about young players like Gawlas and Keane Barry, but we have had a smattering of the veterans saying that they're still here in this tournament. Beaten 58.
Merv King, 56. Andrew Gilding's in his 50s.
What a glorious sport this really is. This is for the win. To put a giant full stop on the performance of his career. Double top. Wow, that was close. And O'Connor thought that was going, as did I.
I was surprised his darts didn't go in his pocket then. Treble 17 for tops. Not the start of a comeback, and now Adam Gawlas, 3 clear darts at tops. He's going to take his time. I think the handshake might not be too cordial at the end of this game. But it is the end of the game. And Adam Gawlas has got into the quarterfinals of the UK Open. It has been a dream tournament for the young man from Czechia, and that was probably the performance of his life. Around about a ton, 7 180s thrown, 2 ton plus checkouts, including a 150, and around about 55% on the doubles as well. He was clinical, he was big scoring, he was brilliant against William O'Connor. A 10-3 victory for Adam Gawlas. Coming up next on stage 2, we've got the Ferret Johnny Clayton against the Wall Martin Schindler. But plenty more darts coming, make sure you stick around.